Senator, just to spend another minute on transportation issues, let's focus on the rail line, the rail capacity issues.
That is such an important question. First of all,
Senator, thanks very much for joining us this morning, and we're delighted you're going to be with us on Monday. Talk for a few minutes of you a number of things I know that we'll be discussing.
Yeah, well, thanks, Oz, for having me. I'm looking forward to being there.
Thanks for having me back, Oz.
Pleasure to be here.
Oz, thanks so much for having me on. Looking forward to the conversation.
And now, please welcome to the stage the President and CEO of the MetroHartford Alliance and host of Pulse of the Region, Oz Griebel.
Good evening, and welcome to the first ever live episode of Pulse of the Region, brought to you by the MetroHartford Alliance, where we compete aggressively and successfully for jobs, capital, and talent. We're here to celebrate a 15-year proud past, an ever stronger present, and a bright, dynamic future. And as a live audience today, feel free to cheer and laugh a lot. It'll help with the ratings. So we'd like to thank the Bushnell Event Resources, iHeartMedia, and Max Catering for their help with this evening's celebration. And I also want to acknowledge several special guests here tonight. They include Archbishop Leonard Blair and several members of the Archdiocese. And given where we are in the state and municipal budget level, thank God you're here, gentlemen. We appreciate it. I also want to note that John Mellencamp insisted with the Bushnell that his concert be here tonight. He wanted to get the benefit of the Alliance brand. So we're delighted that John's here, and all I can say is to Garrison Keillor, eat your heart out. Just before we start in the past, I have one minor digression. This is, as you know, an event like this is everybody on our team played a major role. And Susanna McNeil and Brian Boyer were sort of my primary contacts on the what we're going to do tonight. And I'd ask every week or so how things go on. And, well, we're not ready to talk to you yet, Oz. A couple of days ago, they finally said, we're ready. So they showed what this is going to be. Showed me how it was going to come out. I said, do you guys know that I've come out on a motorcycle? I've come out on a Back to the Future car. I've come out on a rolling scaffold. One year I even did Donald Trump before Donald Trump was Donald Trump. But this kind of feels like an AARP convention to me right now. So there was a long pause. Brian looked at me and said, well, we've been talking as a team, and we're concerned, Oz. I mean, you're getting older, and we just don't think these gigs work for you anymore. So I was going to leave it at that. The man behind the screen. Well, they give me the one. We'll figure out whether they have the one or not. He said, well, we're also preparing you for next year. I said, what do you mean next year? So we've done an initial script for 2017, and we think we will wheel you out on a gurney. So please be sure you're here next year. Our 15th anniversary is the perfect opportunity to look back on what we've accomplished together. We've certainly had some noteworthy markings on this radio dial, and included founding the Alliance, being founded on April 1st, 2001. The folks who are still with us from 2000 that day are Karen Ruthier, Jen Proto, Cheryl Stevenson, and the man behind the glass, John Shimo. I had a previous trip scheduled for April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I was allowed to do that by the board, and when I hear the four of them talk every once in a while, I hear them say, you know, the best 3 days of the Alliance were April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2001. 2003, we founded the Connecticut Insurance and Financial Services Cluster. 2006, we launched HYPE, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. 2012, we launched the Connecticut. All right, the Hypesters are here. All of Julie and her family, thank you for all being here. 2012, we launched the Connecticut Health Council, and last year we launched the IDH effort focused on entrepreneurship. On the city of Hartford, it's important to look back. We launched the Hartford Image Project, the Rising Star campaign that was launched in 2001. Connecticut Convention Center opened in 2005. The Hartford Business Improvement District was formed in 2007. The Science Center opened in 2009, and iQuilt was founded in 2011. It's celebrating its 5th anniversary here this year. Again, the audience is good. That'll help with the ratings. A number of projects and milestones have impacted the region at large. In 2003, Pratt Whitney Stadium at Rentschler Field opened. Riverfront Recapture in 2003 hit the $1 billion mark in economic development investments. In 2007, we worked with Northwest Airlines to launch nonstop service to Amsterdam. 2007 was the inaugural Travelers Championship. 2011 was our first Connecticut Israel Innovation Summit. And 2015, Connecticut Fast Track begins. It's a chance to say thank you to an awful lot of people who would take us many hours to name, who have been incredibly important to this organization over the last 15 years. They include all of our Alliance board and chamber board chairs, all of our committee chairs. I don't know if they're here. I saw on the list tonight, if they are here, Carl Kropick, Peter Kelly are here. They were the chairs of the organizations, the Chamber and the Growth Council back then. I think Tony Giorgio's here. To all of these individuals who are here tonight, those who are here in spirit, please give them a great round of applause for all the leadership that they provided. And if you look on our landing page, you'll see up there at our website, all of the information about the annual celebration and recognition of those individuals is on that landing page. So John just gave me the signal from the side that it's time for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on Pulse of the Region.
The MetroHartford Alliance serves as the economic development leader for the Hartford region and as the city's Chamber of Commerce. The Alliance's mission is to ensure that the city and region compete aggressively and successfully for jobs, capital, and talent so that they remain the premier places for all people to live, play, work, start and grow a business, and raise a family. Visit MetroHartford.com for more information.
Well, we're back right after that break for Pulse of the Region. And we're moving on to the present. But first, I'd like to recognize a little bit on that commercial, our investors, our partners, and our team. Up on that screen, you see are the categories of our investors, from the leadership investors to our strategic partners, our regional investors, our important municipal investors, and our Hartford investors. Also want to acknowledge 4 organizations with which we work very closely: Business for Downtown Hartford, the Hartford Business Improvement District, the Hartford Consortium for Higher Education, and IQUIL. That's all, a hand for all of them. And I'd also like to thank our conference room sponsors, Oak Hill, the Oak Hill Conference Room and the CCAT Conference Room, both up in front. We have plenty of opportunities remaining, so any of you would like to name a desk, a chair, or any other part of the floor, we're welcome to it. Brian wanted to make sure that the Saturday morning show at 8 a.m. still is looking for a sponsor, so we can sign somebody up before the evening is over if you're interested in that. And to learn more about our 2015 accomplishments, look for the 2015 year in review coming soon to your email inbox. So I want to just take a minute and use this next slide as a bridge from the past to the present and the future. And that's to acknowledge all the folks who work in this organization. I'm going to pause for a minute. I have a little device to use. Hang on one second. John, don't lose the airtime. So we had a little internal recognition of the 15 years the other day, and because it was the middle of the day, we didn't crack this bourbon that was put. And this bourbon is Maker's Mark, and it's called Cask Strength, which is, I think, an appropriate. So one of the things I wanted to mention, and we've talked about this in our public policy areas, we all know the challenges that we're facing in the city and in the state. One of the most important things that I hope everyone takes from this evening is the extraordinary strength that we have in this room and around the region, that the glass truly is half full, that we have the intellectual capacity and the energy and the passion to address the challenges that we face across the board, and that the Alliance team is an integral part of the people in this region. We had a welcome reception the other night, and they're one of my favorite events. And when you're in one of those welcome receptions and you're acknowledging new people who have come into the area or are new to their positions, you can't help but feel the energy and the confidence that we have. So as we look at this, knowing that the glass is half full, I'd like to all of you join me in saluting a great team of professionals who care deeply about this region and work every day to compete for jobs, capital, and talent. Everybody in the Alliance team, thank you. All right, our first special guest, the Alliance's immediate past chair, Bonnie Malley, who will soon be taking on a new role for the city CEO. Little hand. And while she had to step down, unfortunately for us, as the Alliance board chair, we're delighted that Joe Savage, who will be out here later, will be succeeding her. We greatly appreciate the time that Bonnie has spent on our board prior to her being chair, and certainly the time that she has been on the board. So Bonnie, it's been a great time with us. It's been a whirlwind past several months with changes at the Phoenix, your engagement on public policy changes, dealing with canceled Rising Star breakfast, and the leadership you provided on a year-long investor engagement effort. Your initiation of the world of public service. How does it feel?
I'm having the time of my life, Oz. Actually, it really has been a humbling experience because, as some of you know, I still am at the Phoenix. We're waiting for our merger to close, and in the meantime, I've been volunteering at the city. And I would be remiss if I didn't take the time to let everybody know who loves this city that there is an amazing group of people in City Hall who are working day and night to try to do the best for the city.
And as you look, in a minute we'll go look forward again, but just looking backward on the time you've been with us and on the board, are there particular things that come to mind? You spent a lot of time with us last year, for example, on the investor engagement area. Things that you would like that mean a lot to you, and where you feel we've been most supportive of you on things that have been important to your initiatives.
Well, if you look at the industry that I'm in, it's insurance, and we clearly spend a lot of time on insurance matters, and we've always felt that the Alliance has represented the insurance industry in some of the most important ways, and that would certainly be through the work that they do through the insurance cluster. But I have to say that when I looked at the engagement work this year, the thing that I've gotten really humbled by is the emergence of the strategic investors as such a powerful force in this organization that we need to learn how to leverage, and people gave feedback, they gave their time. And I really think that when we look at the growth of the region, it is with partnerships between the leadership investors, the strategic investors, and certainly the chamber investors, the smallest of businesses. And I think that Alliance is doing a wonderful job of trying to find places to connect all three of those groups. And I really saw it come through in the strategic work this year.
And I know that sometimes you may not be able to see that chart, but one of the things that you were so, as I said a minute ago, so helpful on is leading that year-long review by our investors that resulted in a way of showing through this circle how we're responsible for trying to expand the region, grow the pie kind of thing. And around those 9 circles there are major areas of focus. We really appreciate the amount of time and the leadership you provided last year.
Well, thanks, and I was so glad you said the word grow the pie before I did. But I think that one of the things that the work has shown us is that all of the investors in the Alliance, the words that you all kept hearing through the work was to do more. And when you look at the plan and take the time to look at the plan, I think you saw and you will see that the Alliance has really come forward with a plan that listened to its investors.
One thing that you've now moved in, or not recently.
It was a while ago.
It's a while ago. So you are a true resident of the city. How are things from your standpoint of being a resident look for you? All right,
all right. Well, the first thing I will say is, I've worked in the city for 30 years and have loved the city. But until you live here, you really don't understand. You see it in a whole different light. And what is obvious is how, in particular, the growth of downtown, whether you talk about Front Street, whether you talk about the apartments, the amazing apartments that have gone up through the partnerships with CRDA. But what I get really excited about now is looking forward and what we're going to start seeing in regards to some of the other activity that's going to happen in the neighborhoods.
Right.
And so all of the things that we so enjoy, whether it's, the nightlife, the restaurants, the arts, and all of the feet on the street in downtown through those apartments, you're going to start seeing when you see Capewell happen in the Siscon neighborhood, and then you move on to Hartford Office Supply down in Frog Hollow. So having apartments and having people move in and have the people here on the weekends who live here is really has made a remarkable change.
Yeah, I think the idea that as one of our 9 circles has been for a long time, ensuring that the city really is valued and seen as the dynamic urban core of this region has become more and more of a reality with each passing year over the last 15.
And I think it's not, we knew, for those of us who are employers, we knew we needed places for our employees, entry-level employees who would say, I want to live in the city, I just can't find an apartment. But we had an amazing story. We met a bunch of us have breakfast every Sunday, and we were sitting there and met a couple who actually, empty nesters who came in to the city to live at 77 Main, and they weren't retired. They actually moved into an apartment at 77, and they actually commute out to Simsbury and Avon. They wanted to live in the city, but they're actually doing the reverse commute. So the diversity is wonderful.
And we're delighted. I know we have call-in capacity here today, and I believe we've got a call on the line from Chip Beckett, who is the chair of the Glastonbury Town Council and the chair of the Capital Region Council of Governments. Chip, are you on the line?
I am, Oz. Thanks very much for taking my call. CROG has worked very hard at trying to make our 38 towns one metropolitan region, and we've both shared that goal. And two of the things we've worked on is the metro, is the fast track bus rapid transit, and also the soon-to-be Hartford line commuter rail.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about transportation for our region?
I certainly will. And Chip, thanks for the call, and just it gives me a chance to give a shout out to how important the COG is to this region, the leadership that has been provided over a long period of time, most recently now by you and Lyle Ray, and transportation certainly being one of the focus. You want to take a first shot at that? It says unscripted here.
Yeah,
so.
unscripted. First of all, can I just say when I actually got the assignment, I started laughing like I'm going to have anything to add when I'm sitting with Mr. Transportation. So let me, I'll just play Vanna White, and you just go right ahead and take this one, Oz.
Oh, good. It won't be the same without you, Bonnie. I just know that.
I have more to add later, don't
yes,
you worry.
I'm sure you do. Chip, thank the call, and I think what's so important, you mentioned two of the most important projects, the Fast Track Initiative that's now been in place for about a year, but for some of the financial issues we're facing, is at least scheduled at some point to expand its service to the eastern part of the state, all the way up to Yukon. So it's a tremendous asset, the expansion of the rail line that many of us are looking forward to over the next 2 years to be able to link Hartford more effectively by rail to down through New Haven to New York, and then going north to Boston is really critical. It is all about expanding the pie. We had a session, as you know, Bonnie, the other day with a couple of folks from Connecticut DOT on the I-84 project, which both can scare you to death, but also at the same time recognize what a great potential it is to change the city back to turn up some additional spot. I thought you handled the transportation question great.
I really did. I really did. It's right in my wheelhouse.
You mentioned the insurance and financial services cluster, which obviously you've been directly familiar with. Anything else as we look up at that screen that you would want to focus on the circles or right in front of you there before we move on to the next commercial break?
Well, and the other thing you absolutely, and we talked about this in regards to having people live in the city. The talent pipeline is so critical for all of the industries. And again, I can speak from the insurance industry and the work that the Alliance has done in terms of helping from a job training perspective. One of my favorites is the actuarial boot camp. Because it allows insurance companies to actually get access to students when they're in high school. And if any of you have ever tried to, if you are an actuary or if you tried to hire an actuary, if you can start building those relationships and that interest in that profession at such a young age, we actually now have in our actuarial student program people who started in the boot camp, the first one. So all of the talent pipeline work is absolutely critical.
It really is. And Bonnie, just before we go to the commercial break, let me again thank you publicly for the leadership you've provided, certainly at Phoenix, but particularly with us, and to wish you great success. We'll look forward to working with you in your new role when you finally were able to get over full-time as the Chief Operating Officer. Bonnie Malley, everybody, thank you very much.
And listen, this is not in the script, but because Oz would never let me put it in, but on behalf not only of the board, but of all of the investors in this room, I think it's really important for all of us to acknowledge Oz, who's been here since day one for 15 years of leadership. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. Appreciate it. Thank you. Time for a commercial break.
The MetroHartford Alliance wishes to thank our leadership investors, strategic partners, regional investors, municipal investors, and Hartford investors for their commitment to our mission to compete for jobs, capital, and talent. We appreciate your time, dedication, and investment in Hartford and the entire region. Thank you for joining us for our annual celebration.
And we're back to Pulse of the Region, and our third segment now is focusing on a dynamic and bright future for this city and for the region, and indeed for the entire state and all of New England. And we're very delighted for this segment to be joined by Ojala Niem, who is Director of Operations at Reset, right? Oh, that's right, you can't see, we're on the radio. But if you could see, she's in the middle. To her immediate right is Adam McLaughlin, who is the Senior Vice President and Senior Relationship Manager at Webster Bank, and is also the Chair of HYPE, the current Chair of HYPE. And our new Chair of HYPE, succeeding Bonnie, the very reserved Joe Savage, who's with longtime veteran at Webster Bank. Thank you all for being here. So I'll read this line for Brian. It says, Joe, we're so pleased that you have stepped in to fill Bonnie's shoes, though I'm not sure that her high heels will fit. Pause for laughter. I'll start with maybe Ojala with you. Same question for all three of you. Take a few seconds and say, what are the things as you look at the region, what excites you the most about what's going on in the city and the region? Ojala, I'll start with you.
For me, it's got to be entrepreneurship, Oz. There is a lot of exciting stuff happening in Hartford, right at the Reset Business Factory. In the past year, we've worked with over 300 entrepreneurs. These are businesses that are not only from Connecticut, but coming in from out of the state. We've got a company, My Home Pro Network, that came in from Boston. Past 6 months alone, they've raised over $500,000 in investment. They've also created over 9 jobs. That's really cool stuff, and that's more of what we want to see happening in the region. We've also got students that are graduating from local colleges and universities that are engaging and really taking on entrepreneurship as their role in life and staying in Connecticut to do it instead of leaving to Boston or to New York. And that's been really awesome. And we've got other students coming in that are like, hey, we want to work with some of these cool startups that are coming in. So how do we get involved? We've been able to link them up with not only the local businesses that are already existing here in Hartford, but some of the startups that are going through some of our accelerator programs and our Impact Challenge as well.
Well, it's great. It's the whole entrepreneurship, and I'll get back to you in a minute on the Innovation Destination Hartford initiative. Adam, from your standpoint, what are the things that excite you about the future of this region and the city and the region?
Well, I think if you look over the last 10 years, you know, at least from my perspective, when HYPE was started 10 years ago, we were trying to attract and retain those young professionals, not going to Boston, not going to New York. And if you look back over those 10 years where we're at now, 4,500 members for HYPE. We put on over 70 events a year. We help give the young professionals that work and life balance that they're looking for.
Right.
And the region has grown with it. I mean, we've got, of this 4,500 members, we've got a growing community that just cares about this region, that wants it to succeed, calls this place home for work, life, and play. And it's exciting to be a part of.
And the leadership that next generation of leadership that you and others in HYPE and Ojala represent is really exciting for some of us who are a little bit on the other side, Joe. So with that, from your standpoint, we're delighted that you've been willing to step in and serve as chair. You've been very active with us for a number of years. From your perspective, what are the things that you look at as giving you the confidence about the future of the city and the region?
Thanks, Oz, for that. And I do think your hair is grayer than mine, just and for what it's worth, calm. But, you know, it's pretty interesting, right? We've seen the ebb and flow of Hartford over time, and it's wonderful to see the young people to my left. And, you know, there's really a nightlife in this town.
Right.
There's really people living in this town. Bonnie talked about it earlier. Right. Universities, or it goes on and on and on, and that's great. But I have to say, you know, and I think of the book Good to Great, and I think it really always comes down to leadership. And I'm not trying to polish anybody's apple, but I think this Mayor Luke Bronin, I think he's the real deal. If you talk to him, and I think many people have spoken to the mayor, he's young, bright, the resume is incredible, and he gets it. His capacity to understand is pretty remarkable. And we've got a lot of challenges, not just in Connecticut, but in the United States.
Right.
You know, and you think about the task that the mayor has, right? The mayor has got this looming and growing deficit, and he's got to cobble together a pretty darn broad constituency, right? To try to solve this. And given his background, given his pedigree, given his powers of persuasion, I think he's going to be able to do it. So I think leadership is everything.
Right.
And I think he has it. So I'm heartened. The other things are important,
Right.
but this is so foundational. So we're in a good place with that gentleman.
Well, so with that, my producer, the great John Shimo, has indicated we have another caller on the line, and I believe it is the real deal, Mayor Luke Bronin. Mayor, are you on the line?
I'm here, Oz.
Great. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate you participating.
Thanks for having me on. And I can't thank you enough for those very, very unexpected kind words. My question, Oz, was going to be, you know, I know that you were once interested in being mayor, and just wanted to see whether you're still interested.
Let me talk to my campaign manager, Mr. Mayor. I'll get back to you.
Thanks. No, you know, I love that your show is Pulse of the Region, and I love that all that's been said about regionalism. We are facing some big challenges in the city of Hartford and in the state as a whole. And I think, you know, moments of crisis really can be moments of change. But my question for you and for the group you have up there is whether you think we're ready as a region to really stop just talking about it and start making some real change.
Mayor, great question, and I think I'll let any one of you start with it. Anybody want to react to the importance of a more regional approach to how we do things here in the state of Connecticut?
I'll jump in. When it comes from entrepreneurship, absolutely. I think it's all about the partnerships that we're creating. One of the great partnerships that we've had in the past year has been with the MetroHartford Alliance. It's brought in more exposure to us in terms of what we're doing, linked up the MetroHartford Alliance with what their mission is. We've worked together to launch Innovation Destination Hartford, which really markets out to the entire country, really, what is happening around entrepreneurship in the state of Connecticut. Outside of that, we want to see more partnerships happening with the corporations so that they can have an access to growing entrepreneurial talent as well as future employees. We want to see more access and collaboration with colleges and universities to make sure that the students aren't leaving the state.
Adam, thoughts you have?
Yeah, I think the one thing, you know, 169 individuals, cities, governments, et cetera, it's the thing of the past. It's not working. I mean, I think one of the things we like to promote, and we talk about all the time, Boston is a great example, that anybody inside of the I-95 corridor calls themselves, they're from Boston. And whereas in this region, we have a tough time. We have a stigma that says, you're not from Hartford. We don't want to say we're from Hartford. We need to change that. We need to say that we need to get behind this region, be supportive of this region, and say, hey, we're from here. I'm from Hartford, and this will work.
Mayor, I don't know if I'm available, but Adam might be, so you can see him afterward. Joe, thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, and I have a great deal of respect for what Adam said, and I think the audience really appreciated what he said. But I think, and this is going to be a painful comment, but Hartford has to take care of Hartford.
Sure.
Right? And rather than, if you will, think in terms of conscript, it's cooperation.
Right.
And it's creating a way to bring value. And I think really what it gets down to is being much smarter and more proactive through the mayor's leadership, working with business leaders to invest more, getting more private property into the tax rolls, taking mill rates down, and things of that sort. Because let's be honest with ourselves, does West Hartford? Webster does. Webster wants to work with the city.
I told him no commercial. So what he does is he trips over West Hartford to get Webster in. That's pretty good. I like it, Joe.
But the question is, what is it? Just to challenge yourself. What is it about that makes West Hartford just a start?
Right.
Get closer to Hartford. So we've got to take care of our own. And again, I go back to, and I'm not trying to polish the apple of the mayor. I think the mayor has the ability, much like Gina Raimondo did in the state of Rhode Island, of bringing these disparate constituents together to get a strong tax base, an appropriate expense base. It's painful, but that's exactly what has to happen.
Well, one of the things that we have up on the circle there is a little bit too, not only do we have the circle around the city being the dynamic urban core of the region, but it is about marketing the region. And there are a number of folks that we've tried to bring together to resuscitate some of the efforts we've done about promoting what's in this region overall. Because when we promote the region, from an economic development standpoint, whether it's on a global basis or bringing companies in, make sure companies stay here. They're not interested in one town's labor force. They're interested in the region's labor force. They're interested in the entire education system. So you make a great point, Joe. I think we in the private sector have a major role to play, though, in being a champion for this kind of collaboration that's really so necessary as we go forward. I'll just give you each of 30 seconds at the end to wrap this up. Ojala, any other comments you'd like the audience to be aware of from your standpoint, from Reset's standpoint?
I would say there's a lot happening, and if you haven't seen it yet and you haven't come check it out, you need to come see it. We're just moved last year. It's been almost officially a year to 1429 Park Street. It's a lot of activity, a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. So come check us out, see what types of startups are growing here in Hartford. And these are the guys that are going to be changing and shaping the future. So come check us out.
Before I kick this over to Adam, one of the things just on the mayor's comment, and actually this a theme a little bit up here, is the old buy local initiative that we're trying to get some traction on this year. It came out of our investor engagement effort last year. Entrepreneurs, while they're looking for capital, are looking for customers. And some of our later stage companies that have been at it for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years are also looking for customers. So finding a way to bridge that gap where those who have major purchasing initiatives here, or for that matter, smaller ones, making sure we look at what we have here in the city and the region and support those businesses that provide the jobs here locally. Adam, thoughts that you have?
Yeah, I just want a quick plug, otherwise I wouldn't be doing my job. Julie Daly-Meehan would beat me up. Speaking of celebrations, as we talked about, it's the 10th anniversary of Hype, but we're going to be throwing a big party on June 8th, which is a Wednesday. We're going to be celebrating with all of the businesses down on Front Street. We're going to be talking about the growth of not only Hype over these 10 years, but also the growth of the region and the exciting things that have been happening over that time. Like I said, we're working with all the businesses on Front Street. We're going to have some live music, and we've even got a special Hypey birthday beer put together by Hooker Brewery that we're going to be special for the evening, so we're really excited about it. Special thanks to the Travelers, Webster Bank, and Comcast for already stepping up and being sponsors for the event. And again, another small plug, I wouldn't be doing my job. If anybody else is interested in sponsoring, please reach out to either myself or to Julie Daly-Meehan at the Alliance to support us.
Thank you. You and I will both be safe after you, yes. Now that from Julie's wrath, so thank you for doing that. Joe, last comment from you, and I think it would be just given your comments and the whole theme of where we're trying to work more collaboratively together on things, the role of the private sector in public policy initiatives. Certainly your colleague, Jim Smith, you personally, Adam, the whole way of making sure that we're not in stovepipes where we've got public sector leaders in one silo and private sector leaders in another. Just talk a little bit about the way you think about that and the way that some of your colleagues think about it.
Well, I think it's perfect because as I understand, the Archbishop is here.
Correct.
I think back to the 5 bishops and to these 5 fabulous business leaders that came together for the region and the city. And I'm starting to see, and maybe you never waste a crisis,
right?
But I'm starting to see the governor and business leaders, and under your leadership, I've got to throw it back to you, getting together. You look, there's a lot of states that have done just that. And if we get together as a group of people and think about working for each other's benefit, I guarantee our future is bright. I mean, Connecticut sits between New York and Boston. The world is our oyster.
Right.
Come on, we can do so much better.
And I think just to wrap this up with Ojala and Adam and Joe here and Bonnie being here and some of the mayor and Chip Beckett calling in earlier. One of the things, again, as I said at the beginning of this, I hope you leave here with a tremendous sense of confidence and energy and passion that we are the solution, and this is a representative of it. So please give our guests a warm round of applause.
I'm clapping for you, and I'm clapping for you.
So we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Pulse of the Region. I'm getting the signal that it's time to wrap things up. And our in-studio guests, I don't know who writes this stuff. Our in-studio guests, please stay on stage for some final housekeeping and the Grow Hartford cheer. So Adam, Ojala, and Joe will be up here with me. On the housekeeping side, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and all of you who are in the audience for joining us. We hope you'll stay upstairs in the Autorino Great Hall to join us for drinks, hors d'oeuvres, and desserts. We'll share a little of this. And you will find cards on the tables upstairs. And encourage you to do this, to write your hopes for the future of this city and this region. fill one out, fill multiple ones out, and drop them in the bowls that you'll see around the tables upstairs. We plan to take some of those, use them in our daily brief, use them to inspire us or maybe even inform some of our particular tactics and strategies. So we also hope you'll take a look at the annual celebration landing page at our website, MetroHartford.com. So with that, what we're going to do here is, since we have this Webster tag team, they think they're so cool. Joe and Adam will be on this side when I stand up. Ojala and I will be on this side. And we will lead everyone in the Grow Hartford cheer. I hope you'll understand that the side that Ojala and I lead, expect to get significantly louder noise than the side that Joe and Adam lead. So with that, let's go. We'll go up to the front. Joe and Adam, you're on this side over here.
Oh, Oz gets the mic.
Oh, absolutely. You kidding me? So remember, here's the Connecticut River. We'll start on this side with Grow Hartford 3 times. Grow Hartford, Grow Hartford, Grow Hartford. So these guys are responsible for eliciting Hartford on this side. Ojala and I will take care of Grow on this side. So with that, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, Grow! 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 It's, I just hope Jim Smith isn't around to get your performance appraisals. So now we'll switch. We'll see how ambidextrous these folks are over here. We'll go Grow, Hartford. Grow, Hartford, Grow, Hartford. On the count of 3, gentlemen. 1, 2, 3. Grow. Hartford! Grow. Hartford! Grow. Hartford! All right, everybody up. Everybody up. On the count of 3 together. Together. 1, 2, 3. Grow! Hartford! Grow! Hartford! Grow! Hartford! Have a great evening. Thanks, Ojala.
Thank you.
Great job, guys.